Yes, gather around. It's story time. Y'all know me by now. The Reverend Fry Daddy. The one and only ambassador of chaos. And what do we say about chaos? It is a state of change where chance is supreme. Not that mumbo jumbo y'all see on TV. Don't believe the hype. It ain't a bunch of people running around screaming and yelling. That's not chaos. That's called mayhem and havoc. Chaos when you expect something to happen, plan it all the way down to the T, and things don't go your way. The unexpected change. That's what chaos is. And I'm here to bring chaos to the world because I think it's a beautiful thing. I was inspired to do this because I saw this video on YouTube and they were asking about scars from the 1980s. And I'm like, yeah, I got a scar. But I can't post any pictures on there to show that scar. But I did write a story around 2006, 2007, I believe it was. But it happened way, way earlier than that. I was going to try to use AI to do this, but I could only do 400 characters at a time. Yeah, it's not going to work. And also, it will sound a lot better coming directly from my energy, my essence, my soul, my voice. So here, how about this? This story is called Imagine the Journey. I'm going to take y'all on a wild ride. And everything you're going to hear in here, yeah, this happened. It really did. And this is only one of the stories. So let's jump into the mind and experiences and life of the Reverend Fry Daddy. Places to see and people to do has been my calling, and I have been fortunate enough to recognize the world around me and to the souls I have come in contact with. So many stories of adventures, yet my pleasure comes from the knowledge that it isn't over yet, not by a long shot. I sit and catch myself daydreaming about the past quite often and thinking, of all the good, the bad, and the boring. Sometimes I look to the future, but never really plan for it, because when it does happen, it'll be just another memory to reflect on. Only if there was a way to just travel and talk to people about things they have seen or done. I know this world holds a bunch of stories, and I've only tapped into a few. Imagine a journey I should have to hear all the rest, and to share with those who have chosen to lead a regular life in turn for safety. I got this one story burning in my head, but I tell it so much, maybe it's time to put it down on paper. So here it is for the rest of the world to see, for what it is, what it should be. Stupid kids doing stupid stuff, yet having fun. People tend to place the blame on anything and anyone to shake off the guilt of responsibility of their own actions. We know what we were doing, and if anyone wants to blame me for those things that we have done, that I have done, so be it. The truth is still there. For some wacky reasons, things tend to happen around summertime. It's kind of funny though, we weren't even in school at the time. We were just young, having fun. I guess it was more special in the summertime, and it seemed we had, more freedom. The one story I want to share is the infamous July summer of 1989. It should have been a Friday the 13th because it would have made a lot more sense, all the things that happened, but it's one of those times. It's crazy how many things are never forgotten, like dates, places, or even people that, feel your life until it becomes to an anniversary or a birthday. But when it comes to something like that night, it can't be blocked out, only told differently. I can only tell my side of what I remember. I just wish I could recall the things that did happen in the times I blacked out and woke up with a metal trash can next to me in somebody else's bed. I missed that trash can, but that's another story altogether. A few weeks before all this happened, my girl and me had just broken up because of the reason that I was worthless. I didn't work, go to school, have a job, money, stuff. But I'm a kid. I'm 17, 18 years old. And there is no desire to improve myself. I'm Gen X, man. But Hell, I was living and nothing was going to interfere with that. It's fucked because when she met me, I was doing the same thing, and I'm pretty sure it's what drove her to me. Rebellious, full of life. And now that I think about it, maybe I was just full of shit. After we split up, I had more time to tend to important things like, getting high, getting laid, getting into trouble. But most of all, just being me. On the night in question, there were different things going on in the hood. I think my part started around noon when I woke from my daily slumber. A couple of friends and I headed over to our favorite chick's house because it was cool for a bunch of us to hang out there while it was all wee hours of the night and the early morning. When we arrived, it was off to the good start by smoking a couple of joints, drinking some beers. Seemed almost like any other summer night, but being in my world, things never seemed as they were. As we were hanging out, my ex had pulled up and we began talking a little bit, but nothing too grand because I had to keep my cool. After a few moments had passed, some other friends and I wanted to head out and, pick up some party supplies before the night fell upon us. I heard one buddy say he wanted to head home in chains, and she offered to give him a ride to his house. Even though it bothered me a little bit, I still kept my cool, because if you can't trust your friends, who can you trust? That was a bunch of bullshit. Just wish I would have been wiser then. We split up into about 4 groups till we met back up later at the girl's house. On the way to the liquor store, I mentioned to my friend about asking my ex back out. But there was still that fear after the way we broke up. Yet I could still feel the love for her inside. He told me the best thing was to let things ride out and take its course. Most important, don't try and force things. He had almost the same problem with the chick we hung out with, because they broke up the summer of the year before. But now they remained friends after all their bullshit was over. I told him that I felt this was the night something was going to happen special. Now, if I only knew that statement held more than just the truth. When we arrived back to the spot, there were some more friends showed up that I did not expect to see, but everybody's welcome. We gathered and poured drinks, passed around a couple joints, shared some laughter, some stories. By the time the buzz was actually kicking in and I began to realize that she hadn't returned and neither did he, just as that thought came, it was soon gone. It was well into the night, and as high as the summer moon, so was I. Another friend of mine showed up with this chick he's been trying to land from this other cat he didn't like. Of course, he always has some good stuff with him. He had a pocket full of pills, and by this time I didn't need or didn't care what it was. Just give me some. Found out later it was speed. A few of us was running around the nearby playground next to the girl's house when I saw her car pull up. In my heart, I wanted to run and tell her. Then I remembered she wasn't mine to run to. I caught a glimpse of my friend walk up through the bottle of rum I was drinking from. I didn't question him because after all, he was my friend, and I'm pretty sure everything was cool. He called a few of us over to tell us that he had scored some acid. Oh yeah, it's time to kick this party into overdrive, bruh. We passed the bottle around to wash down the tiny pieces of white paper. We then shared another joint, and then another. Yep, it was one of those nights. It's summertime, baby. Times like this made me happy to be alive. Great times and great friends to enjoy it with. I did a lot of socializing at these parties because some people tend to hang out in certain groups, but not me. I like to talk to everybody. I can see my ex talking to some of the chick friends, the girl groups and everything like that. And in my mind, in my spirit, I can feel, hey, this is a good sign. Because I know my friends, they going to sum me up as a good guy. I went to back my buddy and told him, hey, can you go find out and ask around if, they were talking about me. He told me to wait it out and have a good time. But if there was a chance I could have her back in my life, I wanted it as soon as possible. We took a walk around the hood, all jacked up on all kinds of mind-altering substances. I had to know what was said. So I went back alone to talk to my chick friends. I located the two gal pals that I knew very well that she was talking to. I pulled them both aside and told my sad story of lost love and how I would dig to win her heart back one more time. So I questioned what they had talked about. Was it about me? They giggle and says she still thinks about me in a special way and has some regrets in our separation. So I knew it was time to make my stand. But before I did, I thought, maybe I need to put my matchmaking hand at work and try to hook my buddy and his girl back up. The way she explained it was only puppy love that they had together, and they were both better off as friends. I really couldn't buy that, but oh well. All I knew was it was my time. I walked among the crowd until I saw her, and I looked into her eyes, and I offered, let's go have a walk. Let's go talk. She agreed with an angelic smile upon her face. We headed to the end of the drive, sat on her car. She took her place, just gentle as a summer breeze on that hood, while I did my song and dance of begging for forgiveness. I asked what it would take to win her heart. Yet I think I knew for the most part is what she really wanted was somebody responsible. I told her I would give up my lifestyle and get a job, blah, blah, blah. All the bullshit most people say to get back something they want, and I wanted her. Just wish I could have realized it was one big lie coming from me. I think the only truth that came out of my mouth was in my heart and my soul, not the words. After my salesmanship was over, I felt my heart open up enough to take on the heavens above. She looked at me and asked if I want to know the truth. Of course I do. That's what being in love is all about. I still remember those words. I don't think about them much, but they are still buried in me somewhere. I hate you, she said with furious anger. I can't stand you. You'll never mean anything to me again. I just wish you would stay out of my life. For one moment in my tiny world, I felt lost again. But I think this was the one that pushed it over the edge. The rest of the night was pretty fuzzy, but bits and pieces come through, like when I grabbed the bottle of rum and slammed it down my throat. Soon after, I ran back to the playground up to where the school was, and with so much rage was inside me, I had to hit something to ease my pain. So I picked this window. It was a glass door. I think it was about 3 inches thick with chicken wire in the middle, like a little brace, whatever, to make it unbreakable. Yeah, well, I went to battle with it, and I don't think either of us had won that fight. But the glass did break, and as I pulled my hand out of that wire, I cut my finger a long ways from the knuckle to the bone. Let me tell you this, there's no reason how I lost that much blood and still lived. I flung it everywhere as my hands were flying in the air. Far as I know, there wasn't any pain except in my soul and my heart, and I hoped I would never feel that much sorrow again. Just should have known it was my curse and not my gift to be unhappy. Even to this day, I have no escape. A few friends come up to me to calm me down, to bring me back, but the state of mind I was in, there was no returning. By that time, we made it back to the opening of the fence area, and we were surrounded by at least 3 cops and the eye in the sky with that light right on top of us. After a few minutes of questioning, they called the paramedics to come fix me up. As I sat in the back of the little red wagon getting bandaged up, some more officers continued to question me, and the events took place just a little while ago that had led into the breaking in of the school and what I was after. I tried to explain to them I wasn't after anything, and by punching the glass it gave me a scapegoat so that I wouldn't hurt anyone else. At first, they weren't buying it because of my past involvement in the criminal element in this town. My friends had to back up my story and told my heartache and anger, and so they patched me up and let us go. When all was said and done, I headed back to the party and became more pissed than when I left. She was gone again, and so was he. Yet, with that in mind, so was I. I began ripping the blood-soaked bandages off and punching other things, and to my surprise, I started bleeding again. Imagine that. Uncovered wound and a blood level full of, a potpourri of drugs and booze. Even had this friend who had a badass Camaro, and as you know, it's made of pure metal. Well, I took a bite out of his rear bumper and left a dent. I always knew I had that darkness in me, and that night, it was unleashed. I was more or less asked to leave because of my unruly behavior. It was a good thing, because in the state of mind I was in, it was time to hunt. Hell, a few of my friends walked with me to make sure I got home safe. But safety was not even a factor at this point. As we walked through her hood, I didn't even make it to the main street before I heard people yelling from the house, "Hey, shut up out there!" Damn old people. Looking back, I can't blame them. Only ask for forgiveness for my actions, like pulling up a stop sign from the ground and flinging it through someone's window, or smashing a trash can over the hood of someone's nearby car. Needless to say, it was the same car I took a bite out of earlier. By the time we made it back to our hood, there was more police and bullshit to follow. We were questioned about the incident involving a stolen scooter and a runaway girl that supposedly was traveling with us. As we sat on the curb next to the street, I had suppressed the flow of blood with my own shirt. When they took the young lady into custody to return her to her folks, they asked if I was the guy who tried to break into the school just a few hours ago. A little bit more sober now, but the loss of blood had caused me to be, more delusional. I can't blame the drugs. And I tried to explain I wasn't breaking in, but letting off some anger. I had overheard them saying they were just got a call about some kids terrorizing people with signs and cans. I couldn't help but giggle to myself because if they knew it was me, I would be done for. To my surprise, they let us go once more, and we were off and tried to make it somewhere else, point A to point B. We walked for a few blocks from Buddy's house, and lo and behold, more police showed up with another ambulance. This time, they had the canines with them. As I sat on the back of the meat wagon one more time, getting bandaged up, a cop came up and says I was going to jail for burglary of the school. In my stupor, I blurted out, "Burglary? You better blow me, bitch." Then I leaned over and puked on his legs and shoes. Made it quite a mess if you ask me. Then they brought over one of the canine dogs, and I puckered my lips, and I was like, "Hey, puppy, puppy, puppy." Well, what can I say? It was a special night to be alive. I know 'cause I didn't die or go to jail, and that was the night when I met my best friend's mom. I was covered in blood, swaying, doing all kind of crazy stuff, and still, she invited me into her home so I could sleep it off, whatever I was on. Of course, I had to sneak the trash can in. Nevertheless, she didn't judge me or turn me away like most parents do because of the way I looked. I can't really say that there is an end to this story because it's just one of many. I just hope if you wake up with a trash can in bed with you, pray it was worth it. The names and places have been left out to protect the innocent, but who am I kidding? To those of you who were there that night, I give my thanks. But to you, my brother, I give my life. Without you, I never would have met my second mom. I'm going to end it there with this little poem, whatever you want to call it. Friends come and go. Summer show and leave. Life begins and ends. Memories are made and last forever. Even when all has left, even me. The epilogue to this story. In 2011, I took my oldest son, he was about 14, 15 at the time, back to this very school. And coincidentally enough, it was summertime. And I walked in and talked to the staff, and I was like, "Listen, I broke your window back in 1989. I'm here to pay for it now." And they gave me the most confused look I have ever gotten in my entire life. The lady went and talked to somebody, came back, and she goes, "Our record showed that the window was broken, da-da-da. It cost $200. I was like, "Great." So I pulled my wallet out, pulled out $200, said, "Here you go." I said, "I apologize for everything I might have caused, harm, damages, whatever. I'm just trying to show my son that you can hold yourself accountable for things you've done in your past, no matter how long it's been. But so I do appreciate everything." And they're like, "Do you want a receipt?" I was like, "No, this ain't about that. This is about me trying to put right what I did wrong. And then we left. I hope y'all enjoyed that story. Like I said, this shit really happened. I left a lot of stuff out because a lot of the times I blacked out during it. Like the incident where we were sitting on the curb waiting for the cops to take the runaway. My buddy was in handcuffs and fucking disappeared. Yeah. So there was more to this story, but that is how I got my scar. And I hope y'all enjoy it. Reverend Friday out of here. I love y'all.